Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back here with you today to go over comments I saw that NBA coach Gregg Popovich, if you didn't know who he was, is a coach of the San Antonio Spurs and has been for a few decades at this point. Some stupid comments that he made, which anybody that knows, he happens to make a lot of very stupid comments. So we're going to go over what those are today, and this is kind of the aftermath of those comments. This article here from Outkick by David Hookstead, dated April 13th, says Ted Cruz destroys Gregg Popovich over Second Amendment myth concerns. Here we go. So another stupid comment by Gregg Popovich, as I said. So Ted Cruz has responded to Gregg Popovich ripping the Second Amendment as a myth, and the Texas senator didn't mince words. The Spurs coach generated a ton of attention when he decided it was his job as a basketball coach to lecture America about gun laws and the Bill of Rights, which he has a habit of doing. You can go look up numerous comments that he's made that he's been wrong about every single time because he's a typical liberal that doesn't really know what the hell he's talking about. It's an interesting choice for a coach who just won 22 games a season. For people that don't follow the NBA, 22 games is crap. That's a really, really bad team. So even though the guy is a legitimately good coach and has won a bunch of NBA titles, but he also doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, as I've said. So let's see here. This is what Gregg Popovich said. It says, but they're going to cloak all this stuff in the myth of the Second Amendment, the freedom. You know, it's just a myth. Okay, I'm going to stop right there and just say, you have no idea what you're talking about. It's not a myth. It's literally something written in paper that we could go look at and say, hey, look, it's right there. It's one of the governing laws of our country. The stupidity here is unbelievable. It's like, stick to basketball, stick to the things you actually know and are good at, and don't talk about things that you have no idea what you're talking about, such as this. The quote continues. He says, it's a joke. It's just a game they play. I mean, that's freedom. Is it freedom for kids to go to school and try to socialize and try to learn and be scared to death that they might die that day? Popovich recently said while ripping gun ownership and specifically Cruz's plan for more school security and mental health services, according to Fox News. It's funny that the people that say we are the people that put out plans that say more school security and more mental health services are getting shot down by people that are going, nah, we don't really want that. It's the guns. No, it's actually the mental health is the problem. Again, as I said in a previous video, go look at all these people who commit mass shootings. There's no regular person that just one day was like, you know what, I'm just going to go kill a lot of people. Why? Just feel like it. You know, it's always going to be someone with a mental health problem, but for some reason we seem to be minimizing mental health in this country to the point where nobody wants to actually admit that that's a problem. So, like, guns don't just go shoot people on their own. There's actually a funny meme of like that dude that's like poking something with a stick on the ground and it's a gun and he's saying, come on, do something, you know? And that's basically what this is. Like, the guns aren't going to do it unless there's somebody behind it that's actually doing it. And generally the people, I shouldn't say generally, it is all the people that happen to commit these mass shootings are people that have mental health problems. But no, let's not talk about that at all, Popovich. Okay. So this reporter here, I don't know who this is, Kevin Schroff. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. It says powerful to watch. This is how you use a platform. Okay, so he's definitely not on our side. It says Coach Gregg Popovich of San Antonio Spurs calls out Ted Cruz and the myth of the Second Amendment, the myth that guns all over the place means freedom. Well, yeah, it does, and it's not a myth. You keep calling it a myth. Like, this is something that exists that we all know is there, and you're saying, nah, that's what a myth is saying that it's not really a thing. Jesus, the stupidity here by both these people now, this idiot reporter and Gregg Popovich. So, says now the popular Republican senator has responded to Popovich's comments, and he cut straight to the point. Ted Cruz is not impressed by Gregg Popovich lecturing Americans about guns and our rights because he tends to not know what he's talking about. Ted Cruz says, we've seen for a long time that there are a lot of institutions in sports that don't really like their fans very much, right? Don't really like their customers, correct. Don't respect their customers and that look down on them, yep. Says Popovich is someone who has been a partisan for a long time. He's a liberal Democrat, but you know, I do wish you see this at the NBA, you see it at the NFL, these incredibly rich athletes who hypocritically disdain their fans and customers and who lecture them almost inevitably from a point of ignorance. So Gregg Popovich is telling you that it's a myth that the Second Amendment protects your rights. It's a myth that the Second Amendment protects your freedoms. I mean, that's a fairly astonishing position, Cruz said on his Verdict with Ted Cruz podcast, according to the same Fox News report. Cruz also called out Popovich for working a job that features armed security, right? at games while also criticizing the Second Amendment for the common man. So, like, Gregg Popovich is allowed to, because I know his comments actually came out in response to the Nashville shooting. So he's allowed to have armed guards around him, adults that go to a professional basketball game. He's allowed to have that, but our children are not, because it's a myth, according to Gregg Popovich. Yeah, okay, you moron. Says the Texas Republican further explained, you know what? There are a lot of NBA games. Armed police officers with weapons strapped in their holsters. You know, Popovich is surrounded by armed security most of the time. And this is true with so many Hollywood liberals that have armed bodyguards protecting them. And they say, you little people, you don't have a right to defend your family. You don't have a right to defend your children. But me, I'm going to be surrounded in perfect safety and take away your rights to defend yourself. Yes, that's basically what I just said, and that's 100% right. He said it better than I did. Unfortunately, that kind of condescension is all too common. There's a picture of Ted Cruz. Hi, Ted. It says, Cruz, who supports armed security in schools and police and communities. Like, I don't understand who wouldn't. Further, ripped Popovich seemingly having a double standard. Okay. Yep. Seemingly having a double standard. Okay, it sounded like that sentence was off a little bit. It's okay. Let me tell you this right now. I guarantee you if someone stood up and said, we're going to pull all the police officers from Gregg Popovich's neighborhood, he'd be horrified. Oh, that's damn right he would be. I'll tell you, I'd be horrified. Someone announced they were pulling the police officers from my neighborhood, I'd be like, that's a terrible idea. Yes, as the whole entire defund the police movement is. I want officers to keep my family safe. I want officers to keep his family safe. But there's a political talking point now that if you want to keep our kids safe, clearly police officers are not going to do anything to help. That's just weird, and it's stupid, correct? And it's counterfactual, right? Cruz explained it according to the same Fox News report. And it goes on, says, you know you're on the right side of an issue when a guy like Ted Cruz, a Republican, and Bill Maher find themselves agreeing. I did not know that. It says, these comments are in the same spirit as what Maher recently said about guns after the Nashville shooting, and from David Hookstead, who actually does work for Outkick on here. He's one of the writers on the site. He wrote out from Twitter, it's embedded here, it says, Bill Maher pushed back against liberals calling for guns to be banned, and said he still supports firearm ownership following a transgender mass killer murdering 6 people in Nashville. As the saying goes, God made man, Sam Colt made them equal. Nice. So Bill Maher is just a regular liberal. Like, he believes in the same stuff as a conservative. He just comes down on another side of the issue, which, okay, that's fine. I have no problem with regular liberals, but it's these ignorant, like, you're the hard liberals, like you're just a staunch liberal, or even further to the left, the people that you get more ignorant the further to either side of the fringes of the political spectrum that you go. But so good on Bill Maher for saying that. So Bill Maher says here, guns are a leveler. You know, if you don't have guns, then the person who is physically stronger is always going to win. That's correct. I mean, I do not like guns. I have them. I do not like them. It's a fair position to take. It's like, I always compare them to antibiotics. I do not want to take one, but I'm glad they exist because I'm as small as some women, Maher told his viewers while explaining why he supports Americans owning guns. The reality of the situation is simple. If you ban guns, which is an incredibly anti-American idea, the strongest and most aggressive people will rule. That's correct. The criminals will run the show. That is also correct. Guns are the great equalizer. As the saying goes, as was said in that quote above, said God made man and Sam Colt made them equal. So it doesn't matter how strong or aggressive you are, you're not stopping a piece of lead flying 1,500 feet per second. And a picture of a gun. Should have had a smile on it. Just for the picture. Popovich's comments about the Second Amendment being a myth were insanely dumb, yep, and detached from reality, yep. Millions of proud people in the USA know it, as do many people reading this. Let's dial back the rhetoric and get back to having normal conversation instead of criticizing rights millions of Americans enjoy. Correct. Oh, there's David Hooks. I did say that was him before, and I don't know why I had to repeat that. He's the writer of this article, because I am a stupid person as well. So, in any case, what do you guys think about Gregg Popovich's ridiculously insane comments about the Second Amendment being a myth, you know? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe. Talk to you soon. Bye.